Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.
Good evening, UrbanCast family. I'm Jack, and welcome to another edition of the Let's Talk Show. Tonight's conversation is another one of them conversations we definitely need to have in the community, not just as individuals, but as a community. We are joined by two young ladies, Mika and Alisha, co-organizers of the upcoming event Love Don't Hurt, taking place this Saturday, June 7th, at the gym in downtown Alexandria. This event is about healing, awareness, and real conversations around domestic violence.
Yes.
We are honored to have them with us tonight. Mika, Alicia, thank y'all for being here this evening.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, let's go ahead. Well, I tell you what, can someone tell us a little bit about your organization and what you guys are? Just give us a quick overview of who you guys are before we jump down into the questions.
Okay, well, I can start by saying that Love Don't Hurt is a domestic violence awareness event that Alicia and I have been talking about doing for a while. And we are just really passionate about bringing awareness to this epidemic that seems to be ever growing. Um, and it is really ever growing in our community. We are losing a lot of young men and women to this thing. And it's not just the women we're losing it is, it's men as well. Um, and Love Don't Hurt is just it's a name that I decided to come up with because love shouldn't hurt. Alicia and I had been talking again, like I said, for a while, kind of kicking the can around down the road about doing a domestic violence awareness event, and then there were some things that transpired with a young lady and her husband, where she was taken and he was as well, and so we decided to just go ahead on and get this thing going. And I'll just let Alicia take it from here.
Alicia?
Well, just to piggyback off what Malika said, I'm an ordinary person.
Yeah.
Much of my life, many people may know me from club promotions and things like that. I recently returned back to the city. I've been living in Leesville for a long time, and I just wanted to do something that was more impactful that helps rebuild the community. When I was coming up, you heard about things like this, but it wasn't as frequent as we are hearing now.
Hmm.
So when Malika and I, we just kind of kept in touch on the issue and just kind of watched as it escalate. I mean, you just seen what happened down south a few days
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
So just seeing things like that, it really hits home because it could be us, it could be our siblings, it could be our cousins. Everybody knows somebody that's been impacted by domestic violence. So
Yes.
our mission right now is just to open the door and start the conversation, start the healing process, the releasing, and just hopefully we can
Transformation.
get the community to transform together.
Hmm.
Right. So, what can the folk who attend the event this Saturday over at the gym? What can they expect to see happen at the gym? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they can expect to talk to professionals. Although Malika and myself are organizing this event, we actually took the time out to talk to people who had experience in, handling this epidemic. So we
Mhm.
got Sinlaw's very own Dr. Fox will be in the
Mhm.
building. We have Miss Angela Gabriel who was impacted by domestic violence. She was shot 9 times by her husband. So we're hoping that you everybody leaves with something, whether it be
Right.
lighthearted, a little less stress on them, so that they know that, hey, it happens to more than you. Um, we hoping that, victims of survivors also understand that there are counseling services out there for them as well, and
Mhm.
understanding, how, what to do and how to move forward in the aftermath of it all.
Mhm.
So you will see people in real time that have had, experiences with this epidemic, speaking and fellowshipping with us, because one of the things that we wanted to do that was different is we welcome the abusers,
Right.
because it
That's
starts
what I was
somewhere.
saying. Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to single them out, because if we're going to attack this thing, we have to attack this thing at all angles. You
Mhm.
know, I try my best to see the good in people, and I just don't believe anybody, is born thinking, I want to hurt somebody, I want to kill somebody, I want to do this. So
Mhm.
we can get them in the building as well. Maybe they'll hear something that snaps them into wanting to get to a mentally healthier space.
Mhm.
So like I said, so we can, attack this epidemic together. Every component, every person, or that's involved in a domestic violence situation,
Mhm.
they need the therapy. They need to understand different aspects of it. We're tired of going to. I think I speak for the entire community when I say we're tired of going to funerals
Mhm.
for people our ages and younger. So
Right.
if we
Correct.
can open the door, if we can open the door and start the conversation for change, that's exactly what she and I would like to do.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. The domestic violence, as I you know, been over the last couple of weeks. I mean, I've had some interviews, and we've had some uh, some other professionals on, just talking about just various different aspects of the whole mental health spectrum. And I'm gonna go off a script just a little bit here.
Okay.
I see, African Americans uh, a little bit more apt to now start to say, let's talk about this, and
Right.
coming
Mm-hmm.
from it's coming from a place of care.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we didn't, address these issues, and it
Right.
could be domestic violence, but it could be anything that that you have and that's going on, and it's just not right. But we're we're feeling better to talk about it. Why do y'all think
Yeah.
that's a good? Why do y'all think that it's a good thing? But why do y'all think that's happening right now?
Yes.
Well, exactly what I
So,
just said. They're
as
tired of
Alicia
going.
was, yeah,
Go ahead.
she was saying, we're I'm sorry, as she was saying, yeah, we're tired of, burying our loved ones, and you
Hmm.
know what, in our community we have been notorious for sweeping things under the rug. But
Okay.
as
Say it
she
a little
said, we're
louder for the
tired.
people in the. Say it a little louder for the people in the back of the room.
We have been notorious as a people about sweeping things under the rug. And as she said, we are tired. And we are tired of seeing our young brothers and sisters leaving here. I mean, before they even get a chance to have a life, because of domestic violence and all these things that are going on in our community now. And it's not just limited to our community, but in our community it is much worse, because we have been taught to be quiet. And so love don't hurt is essentially put together to break the silence. It's time to be loud. It's time to say, hey, we have issues and we are ready to address them.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Domestic violence is often it just lives in that silence. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's just in silence. Because folk will, you can be around somebody one moment, but when you know when you go home, it's a whole different you that
Yes.
pops out. We're talking about just down in Opelousas, uh, this past weekend, and
Yeah.
a seemingly normal family, and the husband gets into a rage, and he
Yes.
stabs one of the children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
why do again? And I might be repeating myself here, but I think it's important. Again, why do we bring? Go ahead and start talking about it. I know so these things won't happen, but can y'all drill down on that why just a little bit?
Okay, so one of the things that I'm noticing is that, when I was a young lady and things were happening, it normally stayed between the husband and wife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's escalating to the children.
Mm-hmm.
It's escalating to the mama and daddy getting harmed, the spouse's parents getting harmed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just escalating all throughout the family. So for me, I'm a mother, and I just couldn't see myself putting my son or having my son in a situation to where he can get harmed based on me staying too long or being silent. Everything I do is simply for the greater good of my kid. So the moment you start
Hmm.
hearing about a child, and it doesn't have to be your child, but the moment you start hearing about a child being
Mm-hmm.
harmed on any level based upon domestic violence, it's time for us to start talking. It's time for us to start figuring out some preventative
Yeah.
measures. It's
Yeah.
time for us to open up and tell people we need help, because the very last thing that I want to do is come to a funeral or raise money or hear about a child being harmed. It has escalated. It is tearing families apart.
Hmm.
Okay.
And that is the best way that I can describe it. It's escalating far beyond the mom and the daddy. It's other people are getting harmed. I mean, in that case, I hate to speak on it, but you know, in that case, a child that was already fighting an illness is harmed more,
Right.
and
Right.
that just breaks my heart. So this event is centered around, like she said, breaking the silence, open the doors for conversation in our community. Because as they used to say, if you know better, do better. So
Yeah.
our generation, we know, because you have Facebook, you have TikTok, you have all of these social media platforms that show you things that are happening in real time. So
Right.
we know better. So I think that now we're getting to a place where we're saying, I want more for my family. I want more for my children. I
Right.
don't want them growing up, and dealing with the scars that I allowed to happen. You know what I mean? So just being a parent, that should open eyes.
Right.
You don't want your children to go through what you went through. You should always want them to do better.
And I can
Um.
say I'm sorry, I can say we need to be the change that we want to see. If
Yeah.
we want to see change, we have to effectively show that we're a part of that change. And that's essentially why we're having this awareness event, so that we can show, hey, we are here, we care, we're concerned, we want to talk about it, we want to begin to start healing, we want to see some transformation. As Alicia said, we were always talking about, even the guys who or women who have been abusers. We want to see these folk change and transform and be different, because everyone is capable of change. But if you want to see change, you have to be that change. So that starts by making some noise, talking about it, stop being silent.
Right.
Like I said, we've been notorious for being quiet, being hush hush. You better not tell nobody what's going on over here. This
Mm-hmm.
is our business.
What goes
But
on in this
now,
house stays in this house.
right,
Yeah.
what stays in this, but we cannot do that anymore. We have to talk up, we have to be loud, and we have to fight back. And fighting back means opening your mouth and saying what is going on.
Right. Right. What are some of the warning signs people uh, should look out for in friends and family?
Control, isolation. Um, Oftentimes in situations of domestic violence, you see where the partner is trying to detach you. from your family.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's because of a move. You move somewhere else, and you don't have family around. Because I can tell you for sure, if my family is around and something is going on and they see a red flag, they're gonna let me know. Hey, we didn't
Right.
like the way he did that. They're gonna get involved. Um,
Right.
and it's out of love. Like my aunt would pull up. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But when you think about this thing, you think about family as a whole, and everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have, people who want to help them free themselves from situations like domestic violence. Everybody doesn't have that. So if we can connect people with resources that can help them,
Mhm.
get to a better space, that's what we want to do.
How do you guys believe faith and storytelling? I noticed that you guys have a religious component in the program this weekend. How do you guys think that support can play a big role in the healing process?
Because it makes us relatable. Um, if you tell a story that of what happened to you, or we have Miss Gabriel there talking about, how she was shot and she survived, and how she's getting on with her life, and the different people that will open up the floor to, a story makes you relatable, and it helps a person to understand that they don't even look like what they've been through, and I can be the same way.
Mm.
I want to say something in regard to the last question that you asked.
Okay, go
As
ahead.
a people, we need to, if we see something, say something, right? If we see our family members getting quiet, if we see them being withdrawn or anything, ask a question. Sometimes people just want you to say, "Are you okay?" Because they're too ashamed to come to you and say, "Hey, this is going on in my home." But a
Mm.
lot of times, if you just turn that tap on just a little bit, then the floodgates will open and they'll begin to really say, what it is that going on. The God thing is that He is in everything. And so
Mm.
we have to have him present in order for this thing or anything that we do in life to be a success. So, it is necessary. Um, I think I said something about sometimes people don't want God everywhere. But I,
Mm.
I said this, I, with me, he's everywhere I go. So if I'm there, he's there. So that's
Right.
just how it is.
She talking about me because I told her you're gonna have to reel some of this in now.
You ain't the
We
only
got to
one,
talk to
baby.
these
You ain't the
folks.
only one. You ain't the only one. But
We
no,
got to
he's
let these
everywhere.
professionals speak because
He's
God is
everywhere.
speaking through them.
Yeah, he's
God is
everywhere
speaking
I
through
am.
them. So
So
I had to reel in. She was gonna go to a whole church service on us. I said, wait a minute now, Pim.
that's
But
natural.
but
That's natural for me.
That's natural for you. I hear you. I hear. You guys have asked the attendees to wear purple as a symbol of as a symbol. Why was that important to include folk? Just putting a purple ribbon on or whatever little trinket of purple they can throw on. Why was that important?
because it's a representation for victims, survivors, and
Yes.
victims and survivors. I feel like that's a common, neutral ground that everybody understands when they see, purple, when they see the purple ribbon that represents domestic violence awareness. So
Yeah. Support.
it's just to keep us all, together, to let everybody know that we're doing this together. Although Malika and myself are organizing it, we want you to know that you're a part of the mission. I mean, you allowing us to use your platform tonight makes you a part of the mission.
Mhm.
Yes.
All
100%.
the other people who have allowed us to, speak on their platforms, they're a part of the mission. So that my babysitter is a part of the mission. She's gonna watch my kid while I'm doing this. So it's
Mhm.
just all a part of the mission. So I think that's important for people to understand that, hey, it's the little things that add up and make big change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
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 I
For,
agree.
s- yeah, for someone who's currently in that abusive situation, what do y'all think is the first steps they can safely take today? If they're going through it right now, what can they do?
I
Uh,
believe that the first step that they can safely take is to stop being quiet and go talk to someone that they trust. If they're scared
Trust.
to go to the police, go to someone in their family or a trusted friend who may be able to assist them in getting help or getting away. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you have to have a good plan, you know, and
Yeah.
and and
Solid
sometimes
plan.
it takes, yeah, solid plans. It takes a little time sometimes, you know, to infiltrate that, but that's probably the safest way, is to just quietly reach out to someone and let them know. I'm not going to say this person's name, but I know someone who was in a situation where they had a gun pointed to their face, and then the person left, and they had to stick a note through the window to their relative to go get help.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
by any means necessary, you know, you just have to do what you have to do. But I believe just reaching out to someone, if you're scared to go to law enforcement, someone that you trust and know, you know, that can get the ball rolling for you to get help.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, we talked about kids up in the beginning. Will the program on Saturday speak to children in, and how they integrate into one of these situations where domestic violence is going on within a family pod?
Well, we are asking that the children be 10 years or older because the conversation can get kind of graphic,
Uh huh. Okay.
and we want to make sure that they are at a place where they can understand and receive the conversation, and we don't want them to leave feeling like my mama, could get killed, or my father, could be
Mm-hmm.
a
Mhm.
victim. We don't want
That's
them to
true.
leave feeling like that. So we want them to be of age to where they understand the message. And like I said, there are certain points in our program that are going to be very detailed. So,
Mhm.
we just ask that if you bring your child to our event, that you have a discussion with them and let them know that these things really do happen,
Mhm.
and this is your way maybe of speaking out or breaking the silence. So
Right.
that's, that's our hope. Mhm.
And so, again, any member of the community, whether they're going through a domestic violence thing, if they just want to learn a little bit more about domestic
Right.
violence,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Come on,
All
this is
welcome.
an
All are
educational
welcome.
moment. We
All are
we we
welcome.
want to educate.
That's it.
This is for anybody, whether you're a victim, a survivor, or know someone. We want you to come. We welcome you. The doors will be wide open for you.
and with that said, what can these folk who might just want to come because they want to become a little bit more enlightened, as it relates to domestic violence, um, they may not have experienced it. What can they do to help support survivors and help y'all's cause if there's somebody out there that want to help?
Well, we
One
will
of the
have.
main things I say is see something, say something. I'm sorry, Alicia, I didn't know you were about to start talking,
No,
but
you go
one of the
ahead. Go
main things
ahead.
that I stick by is see something, say something, because the average person has been in contact with someone who has dealt or is dealing with domestic violence, and the average person is quiet because they don't want to get involved.
Mm,
Yeah.
See something,
So we.
say something. You can
Yeah.
save a life. You can save a
Yeah.
life.
We want to encourage them that are seeing things to talk to the person, open that door, open that conversation, because as my parents used to say, I'd rather say there he go than there he lays. So open that door. You don't know what that person is dealing with behind that door. So
Mm-hmm.
that is what we're hoping. We're hoping that everybody
Mm-hmm.
leaves with something, but
Right.
we hoping that everybody leaves with the understanding that this is not okay. And this
Right.
mhm,
is not something we just want to talk about during the month of October. This should be a routine conversation in your
Mm-hmm.
house, with your family members, with your friends. This should be a routine conversation. If you see something, as Malika said, say something, ask questions, get in safely, get involved, because we don't want you
Safely.
going over to these people's house and causing a major interruption to where you're put in harm's way. But we want you to
Yeah.
safely get involved, and
Yeah.
maybe take them out to lunch, and kind of ask some questions, because some people are not used to opening up. Some people
That's
have been
right.
carrying around a burden for so long that it's just become a part of their norm. So,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very strategic in how you approach them, to get them to open up and talk. And so we will have, Red River Treatment Center will be in the building because we know that oftentimes substance abuse
Substance.
plays
Yeah.
a part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We also, besides Dr. Fox, we will have, Medicaid because some people aren't getting counseling services because they don't have the insurance.
Insurance. That's
Um,
correct.
so, we have different people in place that will be there to Saturday night to help you in the transitioning process. So
Yeah.
Okay.
we just ask that you come with an open heart and open mind,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully we say something or you hear something throughout that night to prompt you for change.
That's
We talked about the situation that happened down in the Opelousas area. One of the things that I'm seeing a little bit more frequent, but I don't think it happens enough, and that is like in the case with what happened, the family was real open with uh, what had actually happened, and
Yes.
they were really open because they really wanted the story to be told,
mm-hmm.
Right.
to,
Right.
to get it out, and
It
and,
needed
and
to be told.
it was needed to be told. But one of the things that they talked about was you know, maybe what we can do, it'll prevent that next person from having to go through this. If we can talk about it, maybe what can happen is that if someone is in that abusive relationship, they can see it and then they can go seek some help.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
why do y'all think though in our community, we we'll sit on something when it first happened, and then maybe a year or so later, when it really started to hit us, then we'll start talking about it. At
Mm.
that time, the subject is, everybody done forgot about it, and then it's
Mhm.
hard to drum up a conversation again after it's all gone. Why do y'all think we won't talk?
We've been systematically trained to be that way.
Uh-oh.
We
Go ahead.
have. We've been
For
trained
it
to be
from
that
birth.
way. Yeah. So, I mean, that started even back in slavery. You
Okay.
know, we've just been trained to keep our mouths shut and take whatever it is that we're given,
That's right.
and it's just time to stop. It's just time to stop.
Thank y'all for hitting that nail on the head. I really do.
Yeah.
Um, wh- wh- you know, what is one of the things that y'all hope every person who walks through them doors down at the gym on Saturday walk away with after attending Love Don't Hurt?
Mm.
That there are people out there that want to see
Yes.
you in the healthiest space that you can possibly get in. There are people out
Yes.
there, there are strangers. Let me say that. There are
Strangers.
strangers out there that want to see you grow, want to see you live a healthy, full life. One of my slogans is always young people deserve to grow old.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that people need to understand that we all have to play a part in helping those young people to grow old.
Mm-hmm.
If I always talk about being younger, you know back in our time, there was a village. If you did something,
Mm-hmm.
this one whooped you, that one whooped you, and your parents whooped you when you got
Mm-hmm.
home. That that's not happening anymore. So what we're trying to do is build a bridge. We want to build a bridge, and we want other people to join in on building that
Yeah.
bridge to helping other people live a healthy life. We want you to know that you can live a domestic free, violence free life
And I want them to know that change is possible for anyone and anything. And when
at
they
any
come
time.
there, I want them to feel love. I want them to feel accepted. I want them to feel understood. And that change is possible in any situation. I don't care what it is. Change
Mm.
is possible. And you don't have to stay in the situation that you are in. You just don't.
Don't have to. So is it anything else that you guys would like to say before I done wrapped up all my questions now. Do y'all have anything else that you guys would like to say before we get out of here?
I
Go
just
ahead,
want to
Alicia.
I would like to, thank our sponsors
That's what I was about to
that,
say.
allowed us to use their platform, such as yourself, Jay over at KLB, Carletta Christie, who am I missing? Brandon Ross Realty. Let's see, who else are we missing? Malika, Terrence.
We had Terrence and Sean St. John at 93.9. Renee Goolsby also linked us with Carlette. Let me see. My church family, New Direction International, they have been a major help. And then some anonymous sponsors as well. Yeah. So we
Parents
just,
Refuge has also participated in helping us connect us to different resources.
yeah, we've been
Um,
really
uh,
blessed. Yeah.
Red River
Red
has
River.
really came through. So we just appreciate every single person that played a part, and just helped us in opening the doors for change. The
Mhm.
gym, we
Yeah.
appreciate them as well. So anybody that helped us along the way so that we could get to the finish line of open this conversation, and because it's a much needed conversation, we
Right.
truly appreciate you. If we forgot your name, we're sorry. We love you and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
All right.
Thank y'all so much. So much appreciation and love.
Okay. To our viewers out there, thank you for tuning in and engaging. These conversations that we're having tonight, they matter. They bring awareness,
Hmm.
healing, and hope to people who may feel forgotten or afraid to speak out. If you have questions or what have you, I'm sure Malika and Alicia going to be checking the comments out there. So far, there are no major comments out there, but y'all might want to turn on the notifications. So just in case you see something, somebody
Okay.
might throw something out there. If I see something, I certainly will let y'all know. Um,
Okay.
let's see, to Malika and Alicia, I definitely want to say thank you again for y'all's dedication
Thank you.
to this
Thank
cause.
you.
And it's going to take it takes all of us,
All of us.
to get in here and make this thing begin to work.
Yes. Great.
And again, I want to y'all say y'all thanking me, but I'm thanking y'all because this is right. We've been talking about this mental health thing, all of the month of
A
June,
long time.
May, and then we go
Mhm.
into June. June is Men's Mental Health Month as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
hey, I want to say thank y'all for helping us hit our target as well. So
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Wonderful.
all right. And finally, I want to definitely say to all of the folks out there who support UrbanCast, who help make sure that we help inform the community about what's going on, the things that really matter. One of the things that Damon, Steve, and I always say, we do not make news, you guys. We just tell it.
All
Uh,
right.
we just tell it a little bit
I
more. We
like
got a
that.
few more people listening than some of them other
But
folk
keep
out there.
telling it.
um, we certainly want to say thank you to our sponsors who help uh, us with these type of programs: Sadler's Towing, Long's Products, and Legendary Kung Fu and Tai Chi. And we
Mhm.
also want to send a special thank you to our class of 2025 sponsors. And we didn't know how big that sponsorship was, but we still the class of 2025 sent so many pictures in here to us until we didn't even know what was
Awesome.
happening.
That's
So we
wonderful.
definitely want to
We are
thank.
proud of them. We are
Yeah.
proud of them.
Yeah, we are, and Attorney Tiffany Sanders, again Sadler's Towing, and the District Attorney Philip Terrell. They all made it possible that we could get out there and talk about our kids. Like I say, we'll talk about the
Yeah.
good, the bad, and everything in
Yes.
between. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and so we had that opportunity to do it. This has been the Let's Talk Show here on UrbanCast. Until the next time, let's stay informed, stay involved, and remember, on Saturday, go out and go check out. What time does Love Shouldn't Hurt? What time does everything kick off on Saturday?
5 to 8.
This Saturday, 5 to 8 p.m.
5 to 8 p.m. So there you guys, you heard it. If y'all can just hold on, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here.
All right.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.